Today's workshop, 3 Things to Do Before Applying for Your First Job, is brought to you by Best Incorporated, and your presenter is Sally Hanrahan.
Hi, everybody. This is Sally, and I'm a career advisor at Best Inc. I've helped hundreds of young people find their first job, and I'd like to share with you 3 things that I believe will help you find your first job too. So let's get started. Typically, what happens when you look for work is that you complete a job application, and then the employer contacts you to schedule a job interview. Unfortunately, sometimes here is where job opportunities are lost, and you don't even know it. And it comes down to the contact information that you used on the application. For example, maybe the employer calls you, but you missed the call because your phone was out of minutes, or they emailed you, but you didn't get the email because you made a mistake with your email address. And it's not that you're not worth it, but employers are just so busy, they don't have time to track you down. Instead, they may pass over your application and contact someone else. So, first thing to do is to decide what email address to use. Some of you have a school email address. Some of you have email addresses that you use for gaming and apps. If you can, the best idea would be to set up an email address that you will only use for job search. 2 things to remember about an email address. The first is to make sure your address is professional. By professional, I mean create an email address that is businesslike, like your first and last name. And the second thing to remember is to make sure that you check your email often when you are applying for jobs to make sure that you haven't missed an important email. Next thing is to set up the voicemail on your phone if you haven't done it already. An employer will want to be able to leave a message on your voicemail if needed. If you don't have voicemail on your phone or your mailbox is full and can't take new messages, then the employer will hang up and they just may not call you back again. If you share a phone with other people, make sure everyone who shares the phone knows that you are looking for work and ask them to give you messages right away. And this is really important. Once an employer calls you, call them back within 24 hours, faster if you can. That will show that you're serious about your job search. And if you are nervous about calling someone back, you know what? It's just going to get harder to do the longer you wait. So make that phone call and get that interview scheduled. The second thing to do is to think twice before sharing information on social media. Social media is awesome. It gives us lots of information, great videos, and it's a wonderful way to stay connected with people. You've all heard about the do's and don'ts by now, and I'm going to say the exact same thing. What you choose to post, share, and say says a lot about you and the kind of values and work ethic you will bring with you to work. Before you post something, respond to someone, or snap that picture, stop for a minute and think about what your post and snap might look like to others. Would it be something that you would be willing to share with everyone? If not, you may not want to post it. The last thing you will want to do before you start applying for work is to find the documentation you will need to work. Every employer has to fill out a form called an I-9 form, and they have to verify that the employee has the right to work in the United States. What that means for you is that they will ask you to bring them a couple of forms of ID to verify that you are who you are. The most commonly used forms of ID on an I-9 form are your Social Security card and a picture ID, like a state ID or a driver's license. If you don't have these forms of ID yet, you may want to take a look at the link that's on the screen here and find out what you would need to do in order to get the ID. You are going to need to have these documents before you start your job, so once you get those IDs, make sure you put them in a safe place. I also just wanted to let you know that you may need a legal birth certificate to get a Social Security card or an ID. The legal birth certificate is the one that's issued by the county. It will have a raised seal that you can feel with your fingers on the paper, and it will also have a registration number. The hospital birth certificate is the super cute one that you have that has the pictures of little feet on them, but that one is not the legal one, so you may not be able to use it. Good luck on your job search, and if you have questions, please check out the contact page on our website or on Facebook. Call any of our offices. We'd be happy to help.